James, what is the best way to follow up going 2-8? What's the best response to that the week after? I'll let you say it. You can say it.
Listen, when my back against the wall, that's when I respond big. They call me Mr. Clutch for some reason. I just seem to get it done when it matters the most. The bit of criticism last week, took it on the chin and come back nice and strong. Big response for me, and that's what I'm most proud about.
Look, guys, and he's absolutely right. James's record this week. It's a record in and of itself in Jack versus James in box-to-box football history. Not that we've been doing it that long. James went 8-2. That's pretty good going. And that's a really good way to respond to a 2-8 week the week before. James is back level on that one there, and a huge week for James. The only two games that James got wrong, Bournemouth, Leicester, and also Forest Villa as well, which is kind of a disappointing one to watch. But across the board, James was able to get the Newcastle result, City, Chelsea, Brighton, Spurs, Palace, Leeds, West Ham, Fulham, Arsenal, Liverpool as well, getting that one absolutely nailed on too. Huge for James. I went 5-5, which is my signature dish.
Your Jack consistency is there. It's true. It's never below. It's always hitting that.
Look, it's right. But what that does mean is, look, James caught me up by 3 games, guys. I was up by 7. I'm only up by 4 now. James has nearly halved the deficit there to make things a hell of a lot more interesting. My overall record, 44-46. I'm trying my hardest to try and get back up to 500. James is 40-50. So, James, you're still doing okay there. Still doing okay. However, getting into game week 11, let's start off not that strong. Brentford at home against Brighton. James, who have you got in that one?
Difficult game. Both sides that you can fancy, with certain things there. Brentford in the past few weeks haven't been as convincing as like they have been. Losing 5-1 to Newcastle isn't like the greatest result for them, but again, there's still quality there. Maybe we can also mention, Jack, the fact that the second season syndrome to a certain point there. But Jack, I like Brighton, and in yes, they lost to Tottenham, but they showed a lot to me there, and maybe on another day they could have got the equalizer. I'm gonna back Brighton here. I'm gonna go for a Brighton win 2-1, Jack.
James, I'm with you. I haven't got Brentford scoring though. 2-0 to me for Brighton. James, I think we briefly talked about it with Roberto De Zerbi coming in as well. It's kind of a fresh voice, right? Somebody a little different, somebody a little new, but again, a manager with, I think, real upside and real potential, taking over an already flowing and confident and talented Brighton team. So again, I see no reason for there to be any drop-off from Graham Potter. It's not a diss to Graham Potter, it's more of a credit to the players, the team, and also the new manager coming in. So 2-0 in my opinion on that one. Brentford at home, welcoming Brighton to town. Moving on, Leicester City Football Club against Crystal Palace. Now, Leicester City had one hell of a game the week before. I believe they scored 4 goals. All right, I think James Maddison got in on the act. Harvey Barnes got in on the act. He thought to myself, oh my God, it's Leicester. They're back. And then they go and choose to lose to Bournemouth after being up as well. That is not something that inspires a great deal of confidence, especially if you bring James Maddison in for fantasy football as well, expecting him to do something too. Palace coming to town. And James, again, Patrick Vieira getting the most out of he can, right? That's the biggest thing. Doing more with less. That's what we want from these middle to lower Premier League caliber teams. You want to be able to do more with less, right? It's what we've seen Graham Potter do with Brighton. It's what we've seen Patrick Vieira do with Crystal Palace and Leicester. Home, away, I don't care. I have no faith in the project there at the moment, apart from the odd spark where, they might pop off and score 4 goals or whatever. I don't see the consistency. I don't see the plan. I don't see the future of what's going to go on there. And I think Palace have the difference makers with Eze, with Zaha, but, those kinds of guys where I just think that Crystal Palace win this one 3-1. What have you got in that one?
Jack, I feel you there, and I was leaning towards Palace. To be fair, I had Palace down, but I'm just going to change it just a little bit, because as great as we beat your Palace, Jack, they haven't been that convincing this season. You know, they've lost some games in there. They've dropped points when like in winning positions. It hasn't been all inspiring. Yes, they have Jack, amazing individual and like amazing talent from the likes of Eze, and we know what Wilfred Zaha brings to it. Leicester, Jack, it's hard for me to root for them. It generally is, because I don't know what's going to go on. When you think that they've turned a corner, they put in a performance against Bournemouth like that, and it's like.
You're just waiting for that. You're just waiting for that free Yuri Tielemans transfer to Arsenal in next summer.
Listen, I'm waiting. I would say next summer in January.
January's coming around.
5-10 mil, we can have a deal. But I'm gonna sit on the fence here, Jack, and I'm gonna say both teams. You're not sure what you're gonna get from them, and probably Palace edge it a little bit. But I'm gonna sit on the fence and go 1-1, 1-0.
1-1. I like it. Our first difference comes in the second game. That's always good to see, always exciting to see. West London, James, going to the Cottagers, right? Going to Fulham, welcoming Bournemouth to town, obviously off their win against Leicester City. James, who have you got? Fulham versus Bournemouth.
Jack, I want to confess something before I go. I feel like we've been really unfair to Bournemouth since they've joined the Premier League. For as much as they lost their manager and all this other stuff going on, Jack, the 9-0 against Liverpool. Jack, but despite the 9-0 against Liverpool, Bournemouth are ahead of Liverpool, which is crazy thing. You lose 9-0 to a team and you're ahead of them, and every time we go write them off, they pull out a result here, there, and everywhere.
That negative 12 goal difference is kind of misleading, isn't it?
yeah, that one game really, that might be the detriment coming to the end of the season, but they're a team that people, need to put some respect on. But as I said, Jack, I like Fulham. Yes, they failed to get result in the recent games, but I'm going to back Fulham in this game, Jack, and I'm going to say 1-0 Fulham.
1-0 Fulham. Yeah, look, I'm going 2-0, James. Again, struggled a little bit with injuries here and there. But James, look, I want to echo your points. I don't want to just, what all over a team without kind of backing it up, or at least without kind of apologising and holding my hand up and saying I was wrong. James, this team is unbeaten in 5 games. They got beaten 9-0, and then they're unbeaten in 5 games. If you're Bournemouth, being unbeaten in no matter how many games is pretty damn good, because it means that if you're unbeaten, the minimum points total you're getting from each game is going to be at least 1, and there's the odd one in there where they're getting 3 like they did last weekend. So yeah, look, you're absolutely right. They're doing a lot better than I think we gave them credit for. It was just a very, I think, underwhelming transfer market. But again, we're seeing the difference here, and this is just a little nugget, right? You see what Bournemouth have done in the transfer window, you see what Forest have done in the transfer window. I know the way I feel about each of those teams, it's not wholly different. And we've seen one team spend like crazy and huge turnover, and one team do kind of the opposite. But again, Fulham struggled with injuries. I think Andreas Pereira, he scores his first goal. It's going to give him a lot of confidence. I see him as quite a kind of key confidence player. Alexander Mitrovic is still a problem. And this Fulham team, I think Marcus Silva kind of has what he wants. There's foundations to build. 2-0 for me in that one. But again, Bournemouth could push him a little bit closer. Moving to Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton against Forest. Wolves 1-0 for me. Guys, look at this Wolves squad. New manager bump, maybe, if they get hired and it gets kind of put over the line, right? Forest, again, I don't really know what I'm going to get. There's talented individuals there, but there's no relationships on the pitch. You can see that. Relationships between centre-backs, central midfielders, full-backs and wingers and strikers, you name it, takes time to build, takes time to go. And with this Forest team, with all these changes and all this different stuff that's going on, I just don't see any sort of consistency in terms of backing them to play well and get a good result. So for me, this Wolves team has talent, has consistency, has somewhat of an identity. They just need that goal scorer. That's why it's such a low-scoring game, but Wolves 1-0. What have you got in that one, James?
Jack, again, I echo what you say from the point of view of the Wolves victory. I feel Forest, from all these signings, it's hard to just bring in 20 players and say, guys,
make it work.
Stay it feels like they're going to be in a tough relegation battle this year. They end up coming off the bottom of the table, and Leicester are bottom right now, but I'm not confident about them week in and week out. When we do these predictions, there's one team I'm like, what happens there? Wolves have been a Premier League team for a while now. we know the quality that they have, especially in the middle of the park. We mentioned the biggest problem is scoring goals, and I keep on mentioning this Diego Costa. I do believe that once he gets himself going, this guy's Premier League quality. This guy's not just Premier League quality; he's world quality. At his best, he was one of the best strikers in the world.
Well, and James, he
once he gets going, you'll see it.
I think the beauty as well, he doesn't have to do it all himself. There's so much like talent around him from that midfield and from the wide players where you just think they can put in quality. All he needs to do is be able to finish it, right?
Indeed, there. And also, Jack, little fun fact, it's the first ever meeting that both teams are going to have in the Premier League. So it's going to be interesting.
Need to get those early bragging rights in. James, what's your score for that one?
So I'm going to say 2-0 Wolves.
2-0 Wolves. Yeah, I like it. James, keeping with you here, going to North London, the white side of North London. Spurs at home. Spurs at home against Everton. What have you got in that one?
Again, I really want to go against Tottenham here, but I just can't. Like, I look at this Everton team. Maybe Everton teams of other years, I would have had it. There might have been a different outcome, but them going away to Tottenham, can they pull off a result that I don't really see? Especially, my biggest thing is that with Tottenham is that they got so much attacking talent going forward. Do you have the ability to outscore them?
Right.
I don't think that Everton have that. In like, yes, Everton are going to sit back, they're going to withstand pressure, but at some point they're going to break. Rather, if they're going to fall asleep from a corner or whatever. Do they have the capabilities to respond? At the other hand, I don't think so. I'm going to say 3-0 Tottenham.
3, wow. I'm going with the Spurs win, but James, I'll be honest with you, mate. This is the most obvious 1-0 game I think I've ever seen in my life. Everton are a really, really good defensive team. They are. The shame is they just can't score goals. So again, to me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin plays, okay, maybe I would change my mind here a little bit. I'd still probably pick Spurs to win, but maybe I'd have Everton score 1 or 2 because he can create some carnage, right? Create some opportunities, right? To me, though, this has got 1-0 written all over it. I think Everton defensively stout, all this kind of good stuff. But then, like you said, James, the attacking talent, there's just going to be a bit of individual brilliance, a cross from somewhere and then a header by Kane or a ball through to Son or something of that nature. And I just see Spurs holding on and then Everton not having enough to score a goal. So 1-0 to Spurs for me. I think that one's pretty cut and dry. I'll be amazed if that one's not 1-0. Moving on. Aston Villa just coming off a draw with Nottingham Forest. Again, bit of a questionable one. Great hit by Ashley Young for the goal, kind of rolling back the ears a little bit, cutting in off the left onto his right foot. But yeah, Aston Villa, Chelsea coming to town. James, I think Graham Potter might create a different Chelsea that we've ever seen before. I think Graham Potter is a coach who rewards players based on merit, which is, I think, something largely across certain parts of football is lost. So can I see Brozier starting instead of Aubameyang at some point? Perhaps, maybe, right? Can I see certain players coming in here or there that maybe you'd think, oh, why are they playing there? Or who've they got coming in this position? I think Graham Potter does it based on merit. I think we've seen the progression of somebody like Conor Gallagher as well, and I think that'll breathe fresh life into this Chelsea team, who I had major concerns with Thomas Tuchel prior to that. So to me, pretty clean, neat, easy, nice and tidy win, 2-0 Chelsea against Villa. Who have you got in that one, James?
I'm gonna go a little bit different here. Yes, we can point to Chelsea and say Chelsea gonna win because Chelsea's been really good under Graham Potter. But there's a weird thing I have about Villa. Maybe the bigger games, especially at home, they respond a bit better. We've seen that against Manchester City on another day. They could have got all 3 points there. I think that they react, and I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-0 draw.
1-1 draw, okay, nice. A little bit of a risky one there from you, but I respect it. Okay, James, luckily you've got a back-to-back here, so I'm going to let you go first for your beloved Arsenal. However, not at home, going away to Leeds United. How do you see that one playing out?
Again, Jack, I see the train rolling on, Jack. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal. Leeds are a team that, traditionally against Arsenal, I get it. This is not the same team which Marcelo Bielsa's team were a lot more attacking, and that kind of plays into Arsenal's hands. But I do think that Leeds, I won't say go at Arsenal, but they're going to have a go to the point of view that there will be gaps there. There will be opportunities. And to me, I feel like if they do sit back, that would probably benefit Arsenal a lot more, because we've seen better, like when teams pin us, when teams decide to sit back right now, we have more of an answer now. So no matter how they set up, I still see the same outcome coming up, but I'm gonna stick with the 3-1. I'm going to say my team's going to keep that train rolling. Come on.
Again, for everybody at home, I hope you just trust me and James anyway, and this is why we do it alternately as well. I've already got my scores written in, so it's whenever James copies my score, I say copy, whenever James says what I have exactly. I think we just spent a little too much time together maybe, but look, I got 3-1 as well, James. I see the exact same thing. You know, can I see some sort of set piece or penalty or, you know, some sort of like goal that Leeds can get because they're at home and, you know, the fans are up and Arsenal top of the table and it's a big fixture? Yeah, of course I can see Leeds scoring 1 goal, but the quality, you mentioned the space as well, or even I think with this Arsenal team as well, the way they're constructed, the way Arteta has them playing, they can break down a low block, you know, 2 banks of 4, bank of 4, bank of 5 Leeds United football team as well. So, and James, with those centre backs as well, there's an aerial threat for this Arsenal team too. They really are becoming quite a complete attacking football team here. So I've got 3-1 as well. Manchester United, Newcastle United, huge kind of old school rivalry. It's lost a little bit of its zing lately, but I think with Newcastle on the rise, this one's going to be good going forward. Underrated storyline though, James. 3 consecutive games for Anthony since coming into the Premier League, a goal every single game. Anthony's come in kind of hot. I don't think that's being really talked about too much. All the goals are kind of neat and tidy and pretty good on that one. However, couple steps forward, 1 step back is the way I feel about this Manchester United team this season. I can see them maybe sneaking into the top 4, but I don't think it's going to be convincing. There's going to be the odd game where they look fantastic, then there's going to be the odd pullback game. Newcastle, I think, are just maybe one of these teams. St. Maximin, Alexander Isak, I think he's got a thigh injury. I don't know when he's going to be back, but Callum Wilson's a great deputy there as well. Bruno Guimaraes as well is there. Obviously, he's super talented. Miguel Almiron works his socks off. Kieran Trippier has a great talent as well. I got this one being 2-2. Maybe Anthony will score one of the goals and keep his role going. But yeah, Manchester United at home. I've got this one as a draw, one of my riskier picks of the week. Who have you got in this one, James?
I think statistically, this is one of Manchester United's most winningest games.
Christ. Like, don't tell me that.
Head-to-head.
I won't change it. I promise I won't change it. But please don't tell me that.
It's 37. It's 32 wins to 7 wins for Newcastle. Manchester United have really dominated with 15 draws in there. Jack, you mentioned the 2-2 draw. I see this game being a game filled with goals. I'm going to go for one of Jack's famous ones. I'm going to say 3-2 Manchester United.
Ooh. Yeah, I love a 3-2 scoreline, don't I? Well, damn, I'm scared you might have me on that one, James. Saints welcoming West Ham. Who have you got there, James, in Southampton?
Not one that I'm fully confident with, because Jack, this
Saints are tricky, mate. I'm with you.
Listen, do you know what it is?
They can beat City on their day. They're a weird football team.
If this was in the London Stadium, I say West Ham without a doubt. Saints at home, have a bit of trepidation about it. Should I sit on the fence here? Wait. This is what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna go for Southampton. I'm gonna go for a Southampton win. I'm gonna say 2-1 Southampton win.
Right, give us a quick breakdown. Come on,
Jack.
You going with your gut?
Listen, I'm just going with my gut here. It's like I'm looking at the recent victories. I'm seeing West Ham like, I won't say dominated. It's been a sort of 50-50 game, and West Ham, they won the last 2, but Southampton to me are a team that can pull off a victory out of nowhere. You know, they don't need that much confidence to put in a performance when you least expect it, and that's the thing that kind of gets me here. This is nothing to do with tactical analysis right now. This is just a gut feeling right now. It's a 2-1, and maybe I might backfire. I'm gonna stick with my gut right now.
I got the exact opposite. I've got West Ham winning 2-1. Yeah, I think it will be a relatively close game, but James, Gianluca Scamacca scoring goals. He's starting. I thought this would happen. It's been a kind of a slow introduction from David Moyes, but we're seeing the talent of the guy. Like I say, I don't necessarily love the fit with him at West Ham, and the goal, the kind of handball goal that he got was kind of lucky, let's be honest. But again,
was that not Antonio?
No, that was Scamacca, where it kind of bounced kind of off the inside of his elbow, and he chipped the goalkeeper. But that's the thing, there was composure in that, and again, I like what he offers, and I think that will just continue. Lucas Paqueta, I'm going to bring him up every week. He's a really talented player. There's other players around there as well, Declan Rice, Souček, and I think David Moyes finally. There seems to be like the beginning of the season was kind of a pre-season for West Ham where it felt like they were slowly getting going. I think we're going to see the best of West Ham now going forward, like we did last year. So 2-1 for me in that one. Best game of the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Liverpool, Manchester City, and it's at the location that makes it a more competitive game. It's at Anfield, right? I'm going to take it away here first. I got 3-1 Man City. Look, this Liverpool team, I don't know what to tell you. Lose to Manchester United, lose to Arsenal, right? Sitting kind of mid-table, kind of convincingly in mid-table too. There's that game in hand, obviously, that they still have to play. But this Man City team are absolute monsters. I'm not ruling out Liverpool winning, but defensively speaking as well, Trent Alexander-Arnold better not play. He's going to be in serious trouble down that left-hand side, I'll tell you that for sure. Erling Haaland, we know what he's going to be doing. I'm not sure we're seeing the best of Virgil van Dijk. Joel Matip doesn't look super at it either, and I don't think Ibrahima Konate's even played once so far this year. Wouldn't surprise me overly if Joe Gomez starts at right back. The midfield, you can forget about it. And in terms of just physical dominance and discipline and all that good stuff, I think that Man City are going to have enough wherewithal to be able to deal with Liverpool's attack. The attack's still very good. So obviously I'm giving them a goal. But Man City going to get 3 for me, a convincing Man City win, which really might silence this Anfield crowd.
I want to say Liverpool. Oof. I want to go for them, but as I said, Man City look irresistible right now, and I feel like Man City are still, if they able to put, this is a big game on both sides, because I feel like if Liverpool lose this game, then the title race is completely done. I don't think, I know Klopp said like, oh yeah, but sometimes you say that in tongue in cheek. If they lose this one, it's like a 15-point gap between them and Manchester City. They might have a game in hand, but that's a lot to make up. Yeah, in like what? Man City, we need to drop like 6-7 games. You don't see Manchester City doing that. So kind of, if Liverpool do lose this, the title to me is gone. And this is also a game that for Liverpool is that what a way to respond by taking down one of your rivals, and everything changes. The expectation changes, the belief around the players change. But I just find it hard right now to see what Liverpool are going to do with the way they're playing, also the way Manchester City are playing.
Right.
It's two contrasts there. And Man City like putting down statements to let us know why this league isn't going to be competitive. And I think this is going to be another one right now. I'm going to say it's going to be a goal-scoring affair. I'm going to say 4-2 Manchester City. I say Manchester probably City lead 4-1. Liverpool get like a little consolation to kind of make it look like a game.
Right. like they let Manchester United do in that one as well. James, 4 disagreements across the board there. That's nice, and that's also the difference between what you and I are on overall here. So if I get them all wrong and you get them all right, we're back to even Stevens in the middle there. Just touching on that final game, is a huge game. I don't think we can underestimate that. It does feel like a big mentality and emotional kind of game. These managers know each other inside out. The players, apart from a couple new arrivals, basically know each other inside out too. So it's going to be a really, really fascinating one. Guys, as per usual, drop your predictions down there. We want to see what you guys think for these ones too. Some huge games this week, least of all the one that we just finished talking about. While you're down there, drop a like on the video if you fancy. It would really, really help us out with the algorithm. Please check that you're subscribed as well. Sometimes you get our videos, but then you may not be subscribed. Hit the bell as well. James and I, not gonna lie, we're at game week 11 now, and we've done 11 straight videos of these predictions. I'm kind of proud of us, both full-time jobs and social lives and all sorts of other stuff going on. I'm pretty pleased. But apart from that, James, anything else from you, mate?
Guys, please hit that like button in this video to kind of get the algorithm going with it, and obviously subscribe. We don't need to tell you that, guys. Hit that subscribe button and comment down below and let's see your predictions, and me and Jack will see you next time.